My guest this evening is none other than Bill O'Reilly, who, from the beginning of the show, we were referring to him as the founding partner at the November team, but now also we found out that he is or the chairman again with that
pro tem, so it's just kind of a temporary, yeah.
Which is a fascinating idea because term limits is kind of wired into their platform. Americans know that term limits is just something that's healthy for the system. People become. I remember growing up, and Ed Koch was running for his fourth term, and it's just at the end of the day, there is a tremendous advantage for fresh blood. And you want to
and that's what the National Review piece, if people want to read it,
how could they access
National
that?
Review online. The title of the rollout of the Federalist Party of America was "With Fealty to Frailty," and the reason is that this is a party that closely observes, not from its own wisdom, but from the wisdom of the forefathers, human nature.
Right.
And human nature is self-interest. And men are not angels, as Madison said. We wouldn't need government if men were angels. Right. And so we need to create governments that protect us against ourselves, really. Right. And that's really what's happened with the lack of term limits is once these elected leaders began to be able to give things away, the principal purpose of being in office became getting reelected. And if that's what it is, you can't get rid of the things that need to be gotten rid of, right, because you're not going to endure the slings and arrows. And so that's why it's so important. But, when you have $20 trillion in debt, you think that's compelling enough to do the right thing, but it's not there yet.
Right.
People still aren't doing it. So it's human nature that you've got to watch out for. And it was what, all of them, Madison, Hamilton, they all talked about this, was how do we protect against ourselves? Because when we're given power, we don't want to relinquish it. Unless we're George Washington, who gave it up after 8 years.
But that's one in a billion.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
1 in a billion.
Exactly.
So
it's federalistpartyofamerica.org, and you can text Fed Party to 53445.
And repeat that, please.
Yeah, Fed Party to 53445. And we'll keep you apprised of what's going on. We're going to ask you to become a local chapter chair.
Okay.
Anyone can do it. You could be in charge tomorrow. And it's all about learning about federalism, learning about the levels of government as they were intended, and having some fun with your friends in the process.
Now, there may be some people out there that think to themselves, okay, you know what? Maybe I should run for office one day. What advice would you say? I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the person sitting in the White House never held public office before, which is fascinating, right? He wasn't a state senator, an assemblyman. I mean, Obama, went quite quickly from a local, local politician, state level, and then right to the White House. I mean, a fairly short path. But Donald Trump, wasn't a city councilman. He wasn't, So if someone wants to run, you clearly see that there is a path.
Yeah.
What would your take be on that?
Well, it's funny because like him or not, and Trump is very controversial. He's a lightning rod. That was the way it was supposed to be. You were supposed to get accomplished people that would go and serve a couple of terms and then get out. And you asked about social media before. I mean, that wouldn't have happened without Twitter.
Right.
It wouldn't have happened without Drudge. It wouldn't have happened without Breitbart and other things and Cambridge Analytica that did a lot of the digital work. But it was someone completely from the outside. The thing that Donald Trump obviously had going for him was that he was very, very well known.
Right.
He is a marketing genius.
Genius.
No question.
And he worked on that aspect for nearly 50 years.
For nearly 50 years.
That's an important point. People think, he just basically showed up out of the blue, and he worked on his packaging, on his narrative, if you will.
Yeah, on his narrative, that's right.
For many decades.
But what's interesting is because he's broken that mold, this really reopens the presidency or any office up to other people that are well known. The Oprah Winfrey thing, she's not going to run,
right?
But she could,
right?
She could legitimately. She's well enough known. She's got the money and the connections.
And the fact that America is fascinated by that story and is taking to it, and so and even having the discussion shows that it's a real possibility. But the fact that they're having so much discussion about it. Is that that would not have happened a decade ago? No,
that's right. That's right. And those are right now it's the people that have pre-established platforms that are in a position where they can do that. I wonder if at some point political parties will really be needed. Why go through the process? If you're, let's say, Oprah Winfrey, or you're, name some incredibly famous person,
right.
Selena Gomez, or whoever it might be, some star of the day. Are you well enough known where you could run as Oprah Winfrey?
And to your point, Trump many times threatened when he had certain,
It didn't matter.
with Reince Priebus, he would hold that over him. He says, "I'm going to bolt from the party." Even to that took chutzpah, but
That's right.
But
Yep.
he said those words
That's
because
right.
he knew that technically he obviously needed the party, but he was able to make that threat.
And probably now in the 16 election, he still needed the credibility of the Republican Party.
Right.
But that may not continue.
That's right.
As if this happens again. And if for anybody looking to run for a local office, I would just suggest do things so that when you hire Yitzchok Saftlas to do your mail and marketing, you have
and Bill for
bullet points to put
communications.
down. You have things to put down, and do things you care about. Don't be fake.
I love the honor of interviewing C-level executives and sharing their great advice and perspective on Mind Your Business. I'd love to get your feedback. Post it in the comments below and subscribe. You'll never miss an edition of Mind Your Business.